Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex. Welcome to my video on the best new editions of board games hitting retail in the month of May. New editions are one of the biggest trends in the board game hobby. There's just a lot of new versions of older games coming out these days. I mean, this is actually the newest video in my retail series, and the sheer sort of number of new editions coming out demanded that I do this video because there really is just a lot of them. I include 3 different types of things in this video. New editions of older games where maybe the gameplay, the mechanisms is pretty much the same, but they update art and look and stuff like that. Reimplementations of older games are included in this video. Those are sometimes a game, maybe it has a new theme, a new title, but it's mechanically connected to a game that used to exist. And then also new games in an established series of games. So you'll find all of those here. I hope you find something that you like. I hope you find something that you get to play soon. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Allplay is releasing a new edition of the classic Reiner Knizia game Through the Desert. This game originally came out in 1998, and I believe there's been a few versions of it over the last 25 plus years, but now we have a new one from Allplay. This is mechanically the same as the classic game, but has new components, new upgraded, tiles and camels and things like that. The game has been compared to a classic abstract game like Go. You are placing camels down, creating these caravans, connecting oases on the board. Oases? Oases? Oasis-I. You're connecting oasis-I on the board. I don't know what the right word is. You're connecting multiple oases. You're collecting an oasis with an oasis. You're connecting one oasis to another oasis, and then maybe more than that all over the board. And you're going to get points for connecting them. And then you're also trying to cordon off sections of the board. If you can sort of, block off some sections, you're going to score points for all the spots on the board that are in your cordoned off section. You can also, cut off other players and keep them from getting to certain parts of the board and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of, take that, a little bit of cutthroatness in the game, but it is largely an abstract game, but with, fun camel meeples, and you even have a rider on top of the camels and stuff like that. Plays 2 to 5 players in about 45 minutes, and it is a medium weight game, though, maybe on the lighter end of medium weight games. Allplay is also releasing the game Switchbacks to retail this month. This game was originally released as a game called Connect 37. And Connect 37 was an abstract game. Now Allplay is adding a theme on top of the game and then and releasing it here in North America. So in both the original game and the new game, you are placing down tiles, trying to get at least 4 tiles in sequential order. It doesn't matter what the number it is, but you have to have a route from like 12, 13, 14, 15. And if you can do that, all your meeples on those tiles are going to score points. The theme that this one gives to the game is like you are hikers and you are exploring, and so as you place out a tile, you can put one of your hikers on it, and you're going to try to, go on a mountain trekking exploration. It's still mostly an abstract game, but it has that sort of trail theme on top of it. Plays 2 to 4 players in about 15 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. This is one I have played, and it does play very quickly for sure. So, Allplay has this line of small box games that are all like you can teach them in a minute, and it really is teachable in a minute. So that's a nice thing about it. Awaken Realms, in association with Asmodee, is releasing Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin. This is a sequel to the game Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. So this is a standalone game, but takes a lot of the stuff from the original Tainted Grail game, takes a lot of the mechanisms, and pulls them over into this new Tainted Grail game. But one of the things that people have noted about this new edition is it's less punishing, it's less of a grind. So if you felt like worn down by the first Tainted Grail, they streamlined this and smoothed it out a lot and made it easier to get into, made it, more fun, probably, is a good word for it. This version plays 1 to 4 players in 90 to 120 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. Tainted Grail is, based on the Tainted Grail, universe, and it is a story campaign game. You'll be doing a lot of puzzles, you'll be exploring, you'll be doing all this stuff to push the campaign and the story forward. There's weirdness in the world that's going to affect certain stuff. You're exploring lands, solving encounters with a unique puzzle card system, developing your heroes, sort of upgrading them as you go, and gaining powerful items, all that sort of stuff. So if you want like a dark, immersive story, then Tainted Grail is that. And this version of it, a little less punishing so you can enjoy yourself more and not have to feel like you're slogging through anything. Asmodee, in association with Catan Studios, is releasing the game Catan New Energies, or Catan New Energies, if you're fancy. I feel like every time I say Catan or Catan in a video, then people get mad and comment that it's pronounced the other way. If I say like, hey, Catan, then people are like, it's Catan. And then if I say Catan, people are like, it's Catan. And the world will never agree on this. Catan New Energies plays 3 to 4 players in about 90 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. It maintains a lot of the stuff that original base Catan does. It includes the harvesting, the managing resources, trading, building, all of that stuff that you know and love from Catan. But this adds new gameplay elements to the game. There are going to be power plants, there are energy tokens, there are environmental events that add new strategies and story to the familiar foundation of Catan. And, one of the things that caught my attention about it is when you're building up your energy sources in the game, you can either invest in renewable clean energy or you can do the fossil fuel route, and the fossil fuel route might get you benefits quicker, but is going to come with more risks later, kind of like real life. And so I thought that was pretty cool about it. So yeah, if you are, and it should be noted, this is a standalone game. This is not an expansion to Catan. You don't ever have to have played Catan before. You can jump in if you're super into, energy, renewable energy and stuff. Maybe this is the one that speaks to you more than the sort of original, colonistic theme to it. So yeah, Catan New Energies. Darrington Press is releasing a new version of the game For the Queen. For the Queen came out in 2019, so not that long ago, but now this version, same mechanisms, but new cover, new art, new card quality, that sort of stuff. Just really got an upgrade in terms of all the art and the it's got a fresh coat of paint on it now. For the Queen. The Queen is painting her roses red. That has nothing to do with this game, just so you know. It plays 2 to 6 players in 30 to 120 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. For the Queen is a card-based storytelling, story-building game. There will be a question, and then you all have your sort of own queen characters, and then a card comes up and you build the story and you drive the story forward. And then the next person will pick the story up and then continue the story. And then the next person will continue the story. So you are collectively building a story together. So it's a bit of, an RPG feel in that way. Like if you want an introduction to RPGs, if you want an RPG where there isn't somebody, DMing and having to put all the work into leading a campaign, but rather the cards and your creativity are driving the story forward, then this might be a good a good one for you. You know, you can play it in minutes or you can play it in hours, sort of thing. And the illustrations are really cool and will help inspire you for what you're going to do in the story or what your character might be, that sort of thing. So yeah, For the Queen. If you want a storytelling, a story building game, check out For the Queen. Flat River Group, in association with Synapsis Games, are releasing Rallyman Dirt. This one comes with a bit of a sad backstory in that Holy Grail Games did a new edition of Rallyman Dirt in 2022, so not that long ago. And then that company folded. That company went under. And so Synapsis Games and Flat River Group have sort of picked up that stock and are releasing it now. So it's not actually like a brand new edition, but if you wanted to get the version from Holy Grail Games, you weren't able to do that for the last year, and now there is somebody that is getting that out there. So, you know, that's kind of cool about it. If you don't know Rallyman Dirt, it's one of the best racing games out there. It is a push your luck dice game, and you are you're racing around a track, and the track might have features on it like jumps and stuff like that too. And you know, you're pushing your luck with your dice. It might be coasting dice, might be breaking dice, things like that. So as you're going around curves, and it's a modular board, and there's a bunch of different setups for it. So there's all these different tracks and different obstacles and stuff like that. So there's a lot of replayability with how you sort of set up the track. One of the fun things that Synapsis Games is doing is they reached out to a bunch of different content creators to sponsor cars in the game. So there's like a car with different people's logos on it. So I actually have a car in the new version of Rallyman Dirt. So that's exciting. So I've got a bunch of promo packs. The game that is coming out is just the same as the Holy Grail Games version. Synapsis Games is releasing that version, but they did all these cool promo packs, and so I have a bunch of them. So if you want one, find me at like a convention or things like that, and I will give you cool promo packs for Rallyman Dirt if you already have a version of the game, and it's got my logo on it, it's got stuff like that. So hey, that's exciting. Hachette and Super Meeple are releasing a new version of Expeditions Around the World. This game originally came out in 1996, and there was a version called Wildlife Adventure. And so, yeah, been around for a while. Plays 2 to 6 players in 30 to 45 minutes, and it is a lighter medium weight game. In Expeditions Around the World, you are going to be moving around a map, putting these little arrow markers, tokens, pieces on the board to move to different spots on the map, and you have objective cards in your hand. And so if you go to a place that you need to go to, if you get that route completed, then boom, I've just scored this card. We're all sort of managing 3 different expeditions around the world, though. So it's not just one thing, like other people are going to change it around and you have to try to change it around. And so multiple expeditions are happening at once by using these plastic arrows. But yeah, so you're all trying to just, get to where you need to go to on the map out there. Hachette and Scorpion Masqué are releasing the kids game Monster Chase. This plays 1 to 6 players in 10 minutes, and it works for ages 4 and up. And there is a way to sort of scale the game in difficulty, whether you have very young children or, a little bit older kids. But it's always going to be like a lightweight game. And it is a cooperative game. It's a memory game where if you ever, if you've watched the movie Monster Inc. or something like that, it's basically that without that IP. There are monsters, and they're all very silly artwork. They're not super scary or anything like that. And certain monsters can be scared by certain toys. So when a monster comes out, you are looking for the toy in the tiles and trying to remember where the right toys are to scare a monster away. And one of the really cool things for kids is there's this the box has this like closet that opens up. There are doors that open up, and so when you successfully scare a monster away, you get to put it back into the closet. You get to take the card and be like, get out of here, monster, go back to the closet, and put it in a physical, cardboard closet, which is pretty fun. So yeah, if you're looking for a game with silly, fun artwork that works for your kids, then I think Monster Chase would be a good one. It originally came out in 2009, but now we got a new version of it from Hachette and Scorpion Masqué. Incredible Dream Studio is releasing a new version of the game A Gentle Rain. This originally came out from Mondo Games in 2021, but Mondo Games folded their game division, and so this game has not been available for a number of years. And I actually made a video on it, not realizing that at one point, and because I think it's one of the best solo, chill, small box games. If you want a small box game that's a nice, solo, peaceful puzzle, that was the designer really wanted it to feel like a peaceful game and definitely succeeded. This is a game, like the first time I got COVID was during the holidays in 2021, I think. And so I was just like sequestered in my room by myself and I played this game a bunch because I was like real bummed out, but this game is like nice and chill and it's a fun puzzle. You are trying to match halves of flowers on tiles to make things bloom in the center, and so there's not really any winning or losing. It's just an interesting puzzle, and you try to do it better the next time. After you play, you're like, okay, I got 14. Let's see if I can beat that score, and you play it again, and it's if you're looking for a solo small box game, I think A Gentle Rain is one of the best ones out there. Plays in about 15 minutes, and again, it's like one that when I've played it, a lot of times I've played it 2-3 times in a row, just trying to beat my score from the previous time I played it. So yeah, it's a good game, and I'm glad it's back. I think a lot of people have wanted it over the last few years and weren't able to get it, and now you are, from Incredible Dream Studio. I'll also mention real quickly, there are 2 versions of A Gentle Rain. There is the sort of main version that will be in FLGS's and on Incredible Dream's website that's small, and then there's a bigger version with sort of upgraded components that is going to be a Target exclusive. I'm not talking about that one a bunch because the Target exclusive one actually comes out in June, and so I will include that in my June new editions video. So, but if you want the bigger upgraded one, then you have to wait a little bit for that. Prolific Games and Left Justified Studio are releasing Flapjacks and Sasquatches dice game. This is a dice version of the sort of popular Take That card game Flapjacks and Sasquatches. Flapjacks and Sasquatches has been around for, 15 years or something like that. And this is a Yahtzee-style dice rolling game sort of set in that same universe, in the same world. You are literally chopping down trees and trying to eat flapjacks. So it's very silly, and it's one of those things where you're rolling dice, and you can set some aside, and you can keep rolling, and push your luck a little bit, try to get what you want to get. This is a less Take That game than the card version of the game, but there is still some Take That and some risk. Like if you roll flapjacks, you have to hold them and wait for it to get back around to you. But if other people roll specific things, they can steal your flapjacks and eat your flapjacks. So there is still some player interaction, some Take That, but just not quite as in your face as maybe the card version. So it's a very lightweight dice rolling game. Plays 3 to 6 players in 20 to 30 minutes, but I've had a good time playing it for sure. And this theme is very silly and fun. Ravensburger is releasing a new set for their popular TCG Lorcana, Disney Lorcana. If you don't know Disney Lorcana at this point, it is a card game where you are battling one other player, sort of, reminiscent of like Magic the Gathering type games, but easier to get into, all full of Disney characters and Disney artwork. And there have been multiple sets released for it. This new set, Ursula's Return, is just new cards and new characters and things like that in the game. So if you have been waiting to jump into Lorcana, but you've been interested, you can jump in with this one. There are starter packs here in this set and booster packs to add new content with, different rarity of cards and things like that. But yeah, there are pre-constructed decks here if you want them, and then there's also, a bunch of other card content to get into. Again, if you've never played a TCG before, tradable card game, then Disney Lorcana, I think, is a good starter tradable card game because the rules aren't too heavy and everybody knows and likes Disney artwork. So yeah, check it out. Renegade Game Studio is releasing a new version of Risk 2210 AD. I never know how to say it. Risk 2210 AD. Is that how you say it? 2210. Do you say 2210? Risk 2210 AD. That's what I'm going with. This is Risk 2210 came out 20 years ago, probably, something like that. It's, maintains some of the classic gameplay of Risk, where there's dudes on a map and you're fighting for control of different parts. But one of the things that changed the sort of 2210 AD, and I think actually makes the game Risk better, is that there is a gameplay lasts exactly 5 turns in this version of Risk. So there's no more like, hey, Risk taking a week to finish. Like, it's going to take 2 or 3 hours to finish, and that's it because you only get 5 turns. And I'm a fan of that. Like, there was a time where maybe I wanted to, like, when I was in high school, we would play Risk during like lunch and recess, and it would take 2 weeks to finish the game because we were playing for like our hour lunch. We would just eat lunch in this classroom and play Risk, and then, and now I'm not at a point where I want to play something for 2 weeks. And so that's why I always thought this version of Risk 2210 was better, because it had that sort of, defined end to it. Like, you get 5 turns. In this version too, or I shouldn't say this version, not in this new edition, but just in Risk 2210, it changes the theme of the game of Risk, and there's, centuries have passed, there's now mechanical warriors, there's underwater and moon locations, all of that sort of stuff. This new version from Renegade Game Studio, updated components. They say there's double-sided tokens and moon board and resealable plastic bags in it. So just sort of component upgrades, maybe some art upgrades, things like that. So same mechanisms, but just, bringing back this version of Risk for today's gamer and making it, a little bit nicer for 2024. Renegade Game Studio is also releasing G.I. Joe Battle for the Arctic Circle. This is re-implementing the game Axis and Allies. So this is essentially Axis and Allies, but with a G.I. Joe theme on it. Axis and Allies is one of the most popular, well-known war games out there, where you are playing as either Germany and Japan versus the Allied forces during World War II. And now, instead of playing like a World War II simulation, you are playing as either G.I. Joes or Cobra. So there are 2 sides, just like in Axis and Allies, but now it's G.I. Joe-ified. So it features more than 110 plastic figurines. It introduces new strategic options that commanders may employ, such as the Weather Dominator to freeze the sea to block pathways or create strategic land bridges. So yeah, again, it's sort of a classic war game feel, but with a G.I. Joe theme on it. Plays 2 to 4 players in like 90 minutes. Roxley Games is releasing a new version, or is releasing a game called Skyrise, which is sort of re-implementing the old game Metropolis. And Skyrise plays 2 to 4 players in 30 to 90 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. And it is one that I've been playing a bunch in the month of May and really loving. I love Skyrise. It will definitely be in my top 5 games of the month, spoiler alert for sure. Skyrise is a auction sort of bidding game, but it done in a really unique way. You are fighting for control of different areas, but you're using these different size pieces, buildings, and those have numbers on them. And so you can you place one down and you're saying like, I want that spot. And I put my 32 down. And someone else can come along and say, well, I'm going to go to the spot next to it with my 42. And you're like, okay, well, they outbid me. And then, but you have to place along a path connected to a bid that was already placed. And so, it can keep escalating. And I can even bid when it comes back to me, and then this player puts down a 59 and I come back and I say 84. I really want this spot right here. And so there's a lot of strategy in where you're placing your original bid and maybe not wanting it, but trying to get to a place that you do really want it. It's a really cool, and then there's an area control aspect. Once a bid has been won, you flip over your building. Now it sits out there on the board, and there's a bunch of ways to score points and some objective cards and things like that. It's a really fun, unique, interesting auction game. I really like auction games in general, and I feel like, I know that this is sort of a new version of an older game, but I never played that older game, and I've never played an auction game like Skyrise, so I'm really digging it for sure. It's one of those ones where I'm like, it's pretty easy to teach. Like, the rule set is pretty simple, but has really interesting choices in it too, so I like that, and it plays, when you know what you're doing, like, you can play it in probably 45 minutes, if not an hour, so I love games with a bunch of strategy that play pretty quickly. So yeah, check it out, Skyrise from Roxley Games. The Op is releasing a new version of 10 Days in the USA. Plays 2 to 4 players in about 30 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. Works for families, that sort of thing. There have been a few versions of 10 Days in the USA, but now we got a new version. That's exciting. You are trying to plan a trip in the USA, and you're doing it by getting these tiles and putting them in holders in front of you to plan your trip. And certain trips, you need states that are right next to each other, or then you need an airplane to fly to a different region, or you need a car to drive to a neighboring state and stuff like that. And so you're just getting these tiles and placing them down and trying to build out your trip, and whoever can do that better is going to win the game. There's a little bit of learning in the game, a little bit of geography, so if you want to play this with kids, it's got a map of the USA, and you're going to be learning which states are next to which other ones and which regions and things like that, so that's cool as well. Yeah. And then the last game I have here is Weird Giraffe Games is releasing Fire in the Library 2nd Edition. So Fire in the Library plays 1 to 6 players in about 15 to 30 minutes, and it is a lighter weight push your luck game. So you are trying to run into a burning library and save books. And you are doing that by pulling these book tiles out of a bag. But if you get fire tiles, that's bad, and your turn's going to end. And so you can keep pushing your luck, trying to save as many books as you can, but at some point your turn's going to be over because you pushed your luck too far. And so I love a good push your luck game. I love a good sort of pulling stuff out of a bag game, so I'm interested in it for that reason. This 2nd edition features an upgrade to the graphic design. It features an upgrade to all the iconography, the scoreboard, the rule book. So it is both making it more thematic and more clear than it was before. So if you never had a chance to play the original version, this is definitely the one you should check out because it's now easier to get into and easier to understand. So there we go. That's a bunch of different new additions hitting retail here in the month of May. As always, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/GrantsGameRex. I also have t-shirts. I look down because I'm not wearing one of them right now, but I do have t-shirts if you want to check those out. I'll put a link in the description of the video. And I hope you found something that you liked here. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you watching and hope you're having fun playing games out there. All right, bye.